Imagine growing up in the shadow of your older sister. Every move you make gets noticed, every outfit compared, every smile measured against someone else's. That was Jan Brady's life. Always the middle sister, always trying to be seen, and always feeling one step behind. But what happens when the quiet, overlooked middle child suddenly becomes the center of attention in a way no one expected? Today, we're talking about the moment Jan Brady left nothing to the imagination and why it made so many people pause, stare, and maybe even gasp. Jan Brady, played by the talented Eve Plumb, was known as the serious and responsible one on the Brady Bunch. She was thoughtful, emotional, and often struggling to find her place in a family where Marcia seemed to shine effortlessly. Viewers saw her as sweet, awkward, and relatable. But what many fans did not realize back then was that there was much more beneath the surface. After the Brady Bunch ended, Eve Plumb began to grow into herself, both personally and professionally. She was no longer a teenager playing a carefully written role. She was a young woman discovering her confidence, her identity, and her independence. And then came that moment, the one that changed how people looked at her forever. It was not a random event. It was not an accident. It was a deliberate step forward. Eve Plumb appeared in a bold, revealing moment that showed she was no longer the shy middle sister America remembered. She left nothing to the imagination, and suddenly, everyone was paying attention. This was not about shock for the sake of shock. This was about transformation. At the time, Hollywood was still very strict about image. Actors, especially former child stars, were often trapped by the roles that made them famous. Fans expected Jan Brady to remain Jan forever. But Eve Plumb chose to break free from that image. She showed confidence, maturity, and control over how she wanted to be seen. That is what stunned people the most. Reactions were instant and intense. Some fans were surprised. Some were uncomfortable. Others were impressed. But no one could ignore it. For the first time, the conversation was not about Marcia. It was not about being the middle child. It was about Jan stepping into her own spotlight. What makes this moment so important is that it was not just about appearance. It was about breaking out of a mold. For years, Jan Brady represented being overlooked, underestimated, and stuck in someone else's shadow. That bold appearance symbolized something much deeper: the courage to redefine yourself and move forward without apology. Eve Plumb later spoke openly about how playing Jan affected her life. She learned about attention, comparison, and pressure at a very young age. She also learned how important it is to take control of your own story. That moment when she surprised everyone was not rebellion. It was self-expression. And that is why this story still resonates today. We all have moments where we feel invisible, moments where we are defined by others instead of ourselves. Jan Brady's transformation reminds us that those labels do not last forever. People grow.
People change.
And sometimes, they surprise everyone, including themselves. Fans who followed Eve Plumb beyond the Brady Bunch saw a woman with confidence, charm, and presence. Someone who could command attention without trying too hard. That bold moment did not erase Jan Brady. It completed her story. It showed that even the quietest people have powerful sides waiting to be seen. So when people talk about the moment Jan Brady left nothing to the imagination, it is not just about what was shown. It is about what was revealed: strength, courage, and independence. It was a reminder that stepping out of the shadows can be uncomfortable, but it can also be empowering. Jan Brady's story teaches us something timeless. Do not stay small because others expect you to. Do not hide because people are used to a certain version of you. Your bold moment may surprise the world, but more importantly, it may surprise you. And sometimes, that is exactly what changes everything.